the Amazing Art Expo, doing a Harry Potter series this weekend, starting with the man himself, Harry Potter. Um, just making sure the stream is working here. Looks like we're live, good. Chat is up. All right. I've already done a little bit of the underpainting last night. Um, and no, those are not his glasses. Those are his eye orbits, which I found last night just in finding the construction of his face. He's got eye orbits. Glasses will come much later. And it probably actually won't look like him until I do his glasses. That's one of those features where you don't really think about, but really adds to someone's likeness when you have one of those, like, you know, sometimes certain freckles or hair or a mustache or whatever there's features they have. The whole structure of their face could be right on, but it still won't look like them until you do their one feature, like the glasses in this case. So that will be an interesting challenge, actually. Okay. I just found some major landmarks last night. That also is not his glasses, that line there. That's the horizontal on his zygomatic arch that I just found. It sits on your face with the zygomatic bone, kind of like glasses, but they sort of arrange on the head like the same way. But anyway, let's see if I can start. The bottom of his, yeah, that's about right. Just measuring before I start carving in. That could come in a little bit. And I'll probably take a few passes at this. Yeah, there's that eye orbit. He's very young, so he doesn't have a lot of landmarks. You don't have a lot of lines on your face and, fat pads and things to landmark off of. So it's a little harder to find those plane changes on a really young face. But they're definitely there. That could probably come in a little more, that eyebrow. That could go. And then his frontal bone is come in a little more. Okay. Let's get started, shall we? We'll just etch in some darks. And I guess I will paste this. Nick is not here at the moment. You can pre-order prints of this piece. I will put that there. There we go. That follows the nasal bone. Been studying a lot of facial anatomy lately. This is actually the first portrait that I've painted since I have been doing a lot of this study, so let's see if it helps. I've done a lot of practice ones for my class, but I haven't actually done a full painting. Doing an oil painting. Okay, looks like his glasses are casting a shadow. That's not his lower eyelid. Doing a painting is a lot different than doing sketches for a class. That is about there. Okay. The bottom corner of that mouth. usually lines up with the center of the eyeball there. And then there's the curve of the lips. There's the attachment. I forget the name of that muscle. Underneath the lip that wraps around the front of the jaw there. Can we just talk? Where we're going, we get lost. Me fun listening to some Khalid in my headphones. I never felt like this before. I apologize if I'm moving too far. Can we just talk? Figure out where we're going. Okay, there's his ear hole. Ear hole, surprisingly, is a huge landmark on the skull. It's covered by, it's bordered underneath by the tragus. Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Think about where we're going. When we get lost, let me unfold. Get moving on without no. Never felt like this before. Apologize if I'm moving too far. Can we just talk? Think about where we're going. Okay, I'm not going to do his hair yet. I'm just going to sort of find his hairline, which I've sort of found already, I think. I'll be there by 5 o'clock. I've been dreaming about it. And you won't. So stop thinking about it. There's the front of his frontal bone. Maybe that eyebrow comes out a little too far. Okay, again, his glasses are casting a shadow there. Never felt like this before. I apologize if I'm moving too far. Can we just talk? Figure out where we're going. Okay, this is going to be a little green at the front because he's got his wand out, which has a cool light coming off of it. So that's going to mean part of his skin over here is going to be a little green. Figure out where we're going. So no, I don't always listen to only Harry Potter music when I'm painting Harry Potter stuff. All right, then we get back over here to sort of just regular light colored whatever. Front of his nose. That's wrong plane there. All right, and now that plane starts to turn in places. For all you guys who are used to watching videos online of like the time-lapse videos of people painting, where it's like 30 seconds and they do a whole painting all at once, this is about how fast it normally goes. So you all are spoiled. Man, it's taking him so long. What is he even doing? This is how fast a real painting goes, not a time-lapse video. Where's that plane? It turns right at the temporal bone, which is his is about there. And we're gonna get a little bit of red around the eyebrow there. but it's a little lighter still than the rest of his forehead. And actually there's a little bit of red in that divot there, and that will get lighter. Glabellum. And then that gets quite dark around that eye there. Okay. His nasal bone's about there. Comes in, out. This is the first block in, which doesn't always look fabulous, but I'm just finding all the plane changes. There's a little bit of an underplane there. Nor do I use a lot of paint yet. That side's going to be a little more green also. Little bit of extra plane there. Okay. Let's continue with this lighter plane. We're going to see this plane. Where's his... that's not right, actually. Too low. And my underpainting is dry already. What's awesome about that. There's his, what is it, infraorbital furrow. Here's the top of that, the rest of that orbit there. How's my stream? That looks pretty good still. There's the plane change. I really need another brush. Let's keep this as my light tone brush. Here's another. Here's a plane change brush. A little bit of blue even. There's that plane change. Yeah, there's his temporal bone, which is nice and full of fat because he's so young. People have so much fat in their faces. It's hilarious. Like, that is what makes our faces nice and round and soft and young looking, is just fat. Yeah, that sort of just... Alright, this does continue down a little bit to meet that. This plane change happens there. This comes down where his glasses are. And then the shadow happens. So I'm painting the cast shadow of his glasses without painting his glasses yet, so that's going to look weird until I add those in there. All right. Yeah, let's move and do some of this fun darker color, which is kind of this pinkish purple. Too blue, a little more red. Here's a plain change there. That's a little too red. Jeez. Somewhere in the middle. A little lighter. A little bit of a divot there, not much though. Where's my brown? Come on. I love transparent oxide brown, but God, it dries fast. All right, that's a great core shadow. Glasses. And then we have this core shadow right along underneath the old zygomatic arch all the way down the face, where it gets a little more blue down there. Let's do this one too. The nostril wing there. Yeah, he doesn't even have the nasolabial furrow. He has nothing. Freaking young people and their smooth, fatty faces. Hi there, Raymond. Awesome. Glad you like my work, and glad you ordered some prints. Which pieces did you get? Did you get Harry Potter ones? I have 3 Harry Potter ones coming out this weekend that are, all available for purchase. At 40% off, might I add. Kind of a cool, really, really huge deal. Looks like his nose is casting a shadow down on his face. There's the philtrum. I'm going to need a darker brush to carve in there for his nostrils. Let's do that now. I got one. Duh. A little more red on that one then. Now I need a darker red. Darker red for this, just the bottom cusp of that nostril wing. Little cast shadow there. I'm not going to get too super rendery perfect with this because I know it's going to change. Here's the underneath of that, the major alar cartilage, there, which has a plane change right there. Here's the other half of that there. And then there's the other side of his cheek. Gets about there before it comes out a little further. See, that comes up. That connects a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, that's one plane change. Wonder Woman and Harry Potter. Awesome. Yeah, those will be fun. Well, again, thanks for collecting my work. Okay, again, disregarding his glasses for now. This has got to be the more greener side of his face. Which then gets a little more red as it gets underneath his eye. Again, can't see his infraorbital furrow because he's so young. There's a tarsal plate. My dark red. I guess I'm doing this eye a little bit now. Not that I meant to do this much rendering yet. A little bit of sclera. And that really just blends in. We lose that plane there. That plane change is weird because there's a cast shadow on it from his glasses. This might come up a little higher. He's got a decent vermilion border around the philtrum there. And here it actually is pretty light right here. And as it wraps around, yeah, it gets a little greenish reddish, something a little darker. That's all we get. Just a little plane change. Yeah, boy, that cast shadow looks weird without glasses there to support it. That right there. Huh, that's funny. I can definitely see this plane is too hard. And it comes out a little further, this lighter plane. Got some Led Zeppelin going now. Oh, 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 oh. You don't have to go. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, baby, babe, please, please. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, I love you, baby. Here's the top plane of his chin. Here's the Neapolitan colors of the face. It's kind of a fun phenomenon. That should be a little more yellow, a little less red. He doesn't have any facial hair, so I can't make that too blue or green. A lot of men have a blue or green tint to the bottom of their face because there's facial hair like underneath the surface. Let's see. There's a dark red a bit here. Oh, looks like I was accidentally painting a bit of his vermilion, which is definitely more red and blue. Yeah, I've got a light sort of bluish. There's sort of a plane there that might need to be adjusted later, but it's close for now. And a little bit there. This is not dark enough at all. Underneath his lip, that great plane change. And then that, of course, is a little more blue as it wraps underneath here. Yeah, it's still a little blue around the chin, usually, and around the mouth. That is a cast shadow of his mouth. Hopefully you're realizing that as I'm painting this, there's so much to figure out anatomy-wise and plane changes, and you gotta be a freaking, like, physician, astrophysicist to paint well, because you have to know so many things about so many things. A little bit more of that side of the philtrum there. Here's a little more, just the corner of that vermilion plane change. Looks funny when you look at a painting like progress like this. One eyeball's missing, and here's the modiolus. A little more. Oh, you can almost see his bottom teeth. You can actually, a tiny little bit. There's the underplane of his upper lip. You can barely see that, and it wraps around. And there's the thickness of his cheek there. I need a darker bit for the inside of that mouth. A little more red. I can soften this plane a little bit. And I can probably darken this. Give that nostril a core shadow so that it can have a reflected light back here. Alright, a little more bluish yellow for this cast shadow of his mouth, which means I could have a little lighter. What the hell color is that? For this little bit right here, part of your bottom of that catches light. Little touch of, I'd say, more pinky orange here. Definitely a little darker, almost some greens and stuff down here. That plane change is pretty big, that cast shadow there. Okay, now we get he's got a couple little pockets. It does get a little greenish. Not too dark though. A little lighter. What color is that? not too dark. I can't, it'll make his face look a little too sallow if I make that too dark. He's got some buccal fat underneath there, making that nice and round and fluffy looking. And then here's where we see little plane change, little darker. There's masseter. This should be a little more green, actually. Oop, that's way too green and way too dark. Yeah, there's masseter. He does have a little bit of a gap. And a little bit lighter and a little more pink. Yeah, he's got a decent masseter, actually. Go Harry Potter. And then, this is tough when you do a photo with a photo reference with different light sources. He's got a cast shadow coming from the other side now that I have to figure out what to do with. Alright, I feel like that whole section is too light. I need to make that darker. My shadow area is not dark enough. A little more blue. I may or may not paint that other plane change there. It's kind of weird. He's got a shadow being cast. He's got a light behind his head. I could do a little bit of reflected light, but the reference that I'm using is a little too much. We can see a tiny bit of the shadow of his zygomatic arch going back there. And then definitely nice, sharp plane. Someone calling me? Oh, my girlfriend's calling me. Hey, what's up? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was literally having a conversation about my mortgage refi, and it's not necessarily something I wanted to share with the whole world, so I put my microphone on mute. We are trying to take advantage of the absurdly low mortgage rates that are going on right now, so we're doing that. You guys are like, it's not working. I'm like, because I'm talking about my finances. Oh, it's a little darker there. Um, hey, it's like a Daniel Radcliffe. Good interest rate. Well, we're working on it because, different interest rates depending on how long you want your mortgage to be. I think we're still going to stick with the 30-year to get the super low interest rate and lower our payments. I think one of the keys to having a great life is having really low expenses. If you can lower your expenses as much as possible, your life will be just so much easier. Here we get a little bit of that highlight. It's actually almost a little blue on the inside of the canthal tendon right there. Oh my God, studying facial anatomy is helping so much. I paint portraits just about for a living, but knowing where all these references are and what these landmarks mean, it really helps. I have to say I'm progressing a lot faster with this portrait than I might normally otherwise. Looks still a little wonky, but once I put his glasses on, this shadow will make sense. And then, of course, I'll have to spend some time adjusting it, but here's the side of the nasal bone there. I can totally soften that edge, and that's going to be way more pink. Little bit pink on that plane change right there. Little cast shadow. And here's the upper plane of that lower eyelid. Which pretty much you'll lose against the sclera. A little bit of, we'll get a little highlight on this sphere, basically. That's too far, shit. Get a tinier brush to do, he's got a little bit of skin hanging down, covering the top of his tarsal plate there. And again, it's hard seeing through the glasses. They're clearly not actual optical, like corrective glasses, because seeing through the lens, his eye is the same shape. If they were optical corrective lenses, his eye would be a different shape whenever you were looking through the glasses, because it would be refracting it a little differently. So that's how I can tell these aren't real glasses. And I know that he doesn't wear them in real life, they're just a prop, but that's how I can tell. A little bit of the conjunctivus. Yeah, I'll still do a pass on this to double check. Unfortunately, it's not good enough for a celebrity likeness to get it pretty good. It's got to be just freaking exact, and it makes me have to like go over it a couple times and like just match it up 100% exactly. There's the inner border of his orbital bone there. Little tiny bluish plane, a little lighter right there. Shit. I get a little nasal bone there. Alright, some of these planes are a little hard. I can't see what's behind his glasses right there, but I'm going to guess this lower tarsal plate is a little higher. We'll say his eyeball, his cornea is a little bigger. Matt, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. Alright, I might wait on over-rendering some of that until I can do a pass on it. I keep seeing this shadow come a little further down here. And this is a little lighter here. We get a little shadow from the side of his glasses there too. I see a little bit of that needs to be a little more green. This lower eyelid plane is a little lower there. And his sclera is probably a little lighter green than that. Especially being right next to his little magic thing happening there. His eyelash is actually a little taller than that. Oh, up here. You can almost see a little bit of the upper side of the eye orbit there. And then we'll actually round off this edge here. Just a little bit of green there. Soften that edge about his eyebrow. Same thing with underneath. Thank you guys all for watching. Here's the link if anybody wants to buy a print of this. Basically, any prints on our site, even the originals that we have on the site, are 40% off right now during this stream this weekend. So I have 3 new Harry Potter pieces I'm working on. The Harry Potter himself, Hagrid, I'm doing tomorrow, and Luna Lovegood is on Sunday. So check out the link to buy, if you want to buy a print. You can pre-order one before I'm even done with the painting. The originals are already sold. So those are done. You got to be quick with the originals. Incidentally, if you'd like to have first right of refusal on originals, we do have a Patreon in which one of the levels that we have, you get first right of refusals to buy originals. So we will contact you. You'll be on our list if you're an original collector, and you get first dibs, basically. I'll put the link for that. I have to do it because Nick is driving right now. Nick usually does it for me. There's our Patreon. So please check that out. You can help support the gallery and get cool perks like first right of refusal on originals. Alright, this still is not dark enough, I think. I gotta stand up and look at it. I mean, it's alright. It's really more of a shadow of temperature than it is of actual value. I could definitely go a little darker. Let me throw in his ear real quick, which is usually very red. Here's the old helix covering. Right, there's his ear hole. Tragus. A little lower, actually. Decent plane change there. Or no, you know what that is? It's a cast shadow from this light behind him. We'll fill in this here. He's got a little bit of the Darwinian peak there. Nice red ear. Decently attached lobe. Antitragus. Here's the anti-helix there. Alright, a little bit of concha action. Quick ear there, a couple highlights on it. A little more red for those highlights. Nice one there for the tragus. See here, there's highlights on the other side from the light coming from that direction. I'm still deciding how much of that I want to include. A little more connectivity on the helix there. And a little more red here for this section. Ears are fun to paint because they're so red. It's a little lighter there, maybe a little lower. A little bit of something there. Yeah, as an artist, if you're studying, or if you're trying your darndest to be a professional artist, I just can't stress enough how important it is to study. I've been taking a facial anatomy course for the last month. It's a 6-week intensive with a teacher named Scott Eaton, and God, it is just helping me so much. And I've been painting faces and portraits for years, and I'm actually quite known for doing them well. And I knew where I was struggling. You know, I'm pretty good at it, but I knew where I needed help. After this month, or a little bit more of intense study with this guy, I can really notice so many things. So just, you never stop studying as an artist. You're always looking for people to study with. You're always learning more. It'll only help you, period. So many people think, oh, I don't want to study. It'll stifle my creativity. That is such BS. It will only set your creativity free if you speak more the language of your painting. All right, that's a little bit there. Here's a little sort of skin tone back behind his neck. Just fill that in real quick. It's only got a couple little lighter spots on it. All right, here's this attachment. See, I don't know what color to make that. Here's this other sort of light source that shines on his chin from this side. Here's a nice dark spot. What color should I make that? Sort of a skin fold, because he is turning his head. There's a little bit of a stretch, a twist there. I need to show that pinch of his neck as he's twisting his head. See you later, Matt. Thanks for watching. Maybe check out later. I'll be here for a couple hours. Oh, yeah, please don't spam our chat with your by want to become famous. We're not buying followers, thanks. We earn our followers by providing good content. If I could be so bold as to call what I'm doing right now good content, I'd like to think that it is. Where's my super dark? I'm going to just flesh out this little bit of hair right here. A little bit of sideburn. Yeah, I might make this a little darker. Yeah, let's do this a touch darker around here. So there's the edge of his eye orbit. There's this straight sort of plane change of the face. A little darker in there. Underneath his mouth too. I don't make the, if you can't make the furrows too deep, but then he looks too old. He's got to look young still. I'm young again. But I do want him, I just want the shadows to be the proper value. Here's this sort of bulge of his masseter. I wonder if he's like, no, he's not biting his teeth. His mouth is slightly open. A little bit. So there's his jowl fat, except his is so freaking firm, it's like the plane goes the opposite direction. If he was old, that would be going down, but his is going up. That's how young he is right now. This is an image from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, so this would be 5th year. So what is he's 15? I don't know if it's 14, 15. Yeah, because his first year is when he's 11. So 15-year-old Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. Very firm jowl fat. Let's bring this plane up a little bit. Alright, I could go ahead and make the lighter planes a little properly lighter and greener where they need to be greener. There's the front of his nose. Here's his alar cartilage is pretty sharp in the front. And then this turns to a little more yellow out here and just a little brighter. This continues up a little further this way. Yeah, I love the Neapolitan coloring of the face. It's basically yellow, red, and blue. Neapolitan, like ice cream. Like vanilla, strawberry, chocolate. The face actually tends toward those colors because of the amount of blood and blood vessels and things underneath the skin. It's kind of fun when you notice that kind of stuff. Again, studying, I would have never discovered that on my own. I had to be shown. I think when you don't study, you tend to you have to reinvent the wheel on your own, which is dumb because people discovered this stuff thousands of years ago. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that knowledge? Little touch of a highlight there in his nostril, not too much. And I was just having this conversation today with a friend of mine over some coffee this morning. There's this pride in being self-taught, I think. I don't know why. It's as if I'm so good, I was naturally born this good. And I didn't need anyone to show me how to do anything, which I think is arrogant and completely worthless. As I always like to point out, even Michelangelo, the greatest artist who's ever lived, went to the best art school in the world for 10 years. and that's when he emerged a young, brilliant artist. I'm sure if he hadn't done that, he might have been all right, but he really didn't realize his true potential until having been taught by the best teachers in the world for 10 years. That's longer than most people these days go to become a doctor. That's how long he spent in art school. The Medici family sponsored him, and that's where he came from. So if it's good enough for Michelangelo, it's good enough for me. There's a little bit of pink, little vermilion still in here. He is not smiling in the least bit, nor do I want to make him. He's pretty serious looking. Something weird about that. Yeah, I think I'm going to sort of check my work now. That frontal bone, I bet, is actually a little higher. A little more straight, even. And it goes into shadow behind his hair. A little bit. I need to make that a little more concave. You got your commission sketch, and it was amazing. Awesome. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, I heard this morning, or whenever they sent me that email, that you liked the sketch, and we're moving forward. Great. Glad to hear it. That's definitely one of the more interesting projects I've ever worked on. I imagine it's got to be cathartic in some way to be able to see this recurring nightmare, depicted in front of you, and that maybe helps you process it. I've discussed the project, just in passing with several people, because it's very unusual for me to do something like this. And we're like, why would anyone want to paint their recurring nightmare? That sounds terrible. And I'm like, well, it's got to be some kind of catharsis for dealing with it. I'm like, so bravo for taking that on. That's pretty cool. There's the inner insertion of the modiolus on that side. I just found it. Wraps around. So that means his cheeks might be a little wider. Just a little bit. That might be a little too much. We'll see here in a second. Oh, you know what I could do is a little bit, the underplane of this tarsal plate here, come out a little more. And this is covered by his glasses, so I can't really tell what's going on there. The perspective you put it in was very moving. It is catharsis for sure, and it goes with the song we just recorded and released. Oh, cool. Well, if you want it for your album cover, let me know. Well, I'll just give you the high res. Or, that'd be kind of fun, right? Just throwing that out there if you wanted it. Let's bring this eyelid a little closer. Not that he's squinching or anything. There's a little tiny bit of separation here on his eyebrow. And actually, maybe that comes in a little further. We see a little more of this orbit. That's what that is. Just need to trace his orbit a little more. And here it is. Absolutely. Oh, that'd be fun. I mean, an album cover is traditionally square-ish. This is a 3:4 ratio vertical piece. So I don't know if that would fit as an album cover. You're welcome to the picture either way. Hopefully you can make it work. Or you can use it as a poster. If your band does a show or something, you can have a gig poster. You know, take the image and have someone put the date of the show on it. You can sell it as a gig poster. That'd be fun. I've always wanted to get into the gig poster scene. Not tremendously, but I do know people in it. It looks like a fun scene. Okay, this plane comes in a little more. Soften that edge just a little. Alright, I could soften this edge. And maybe bring that even the divisions of the cartilage on his nose is like non-existent. Oh, the joys of being a young 15-year-old with no plane changes on your face. The youth is wasted on the young. And as said in a Douglas Adams novel, said by a spirit who had passed, he said, and life is wasted on the living. There's a tiny little bit of a core shadow right there. And then this plane comes back a little further. That's not light enough at all. This vermilion is a little softer here. Yeah, just basically just picking out little tiny things to fix. It is rough that celebrity likenesses are so much more demanding. Because if this was just a person that I was painting, I might be done. Or close to it. But it's like, no, it has to look just exactly like Daniel Radcliffe with absolutely no room for error. It's getting close. I'm looking at his ear. Do a little size there. His ear could definitely be a lot taller, actually. His tragus can move up a little bit too. The whole ear really is too low. I got the ear hole right. I got the rest of the ear wrong. I could just do that as basically the lobe attachment is what I missed. Anti-helix is about, yeah, there's the helix. This is why I don't like to spend too much time rendering too early, because sometimes I'm wrong. And it's just a pain in the ass to paint over it and re-render it. Why waste your time? A little bigger. I've so often placed the ear in the wrong spot. It's such a hard. little bit of more pink there. And let's place that anti-helix a little higher as well. Oh, that ear came together so quickly the first time. I should have known. Too good to be true. And then that concha is a little higher too. Yeah, that's easily the thing that wastes the most time as a painter, is having to correct a drawing problem mistake. Put a little higher on that top branch. There's where that connects there. That's a little better. A little highlight on the antitragus there. We'll do a little bit more sort of thickness and softer edge to the back of that ear. A little more pink. This lobe is a little more forward. Still a little higher on this bit of the antitragus. Sounds like the tragus's evil nemesis. And then I bet you that opening for the tragus comes in just a little more. Yeah, weird I had the ear hole in the right spot, but the rest of the ear, apparently not. And then I can see this shape here. He's got a weird extra little divot in his ear there. All right, let's stand back and look at this for a second. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's just check my work here. I have to do a little spell check, so to speak. I think I'm really close. Just blocking the light from behind me so I can, plus I'm taking a progress photo. Okay. Let's do this without bumping the camera with my face. Okay, quick break while I just adjust something on the computer here. Whew. Sorry, I bumped the camera with my head a little bit. I'd say this painting is going really well so far. Next really complicated thing to do would be his hand. My computer is going a little slow because of my streaming. Okay, just doing something here. Talk amongst yourselves. No big whoop. I'm currently reading the Harry Potter books right now. What's everybody's favorite Harry Potter book? I'm currently reading Order of the Phoenix, which is pretty awesome. Very intense. Terrible year at school for Harry, I have to say. I think he just has a really, really awful time at school. Umbridge is about as evil as they come. It's really, really rough year for Harry. Okay. I think I can just adjust a couple things here. But in general, not bad. Move my little tables here closer. Yeah, it was pretty close. Couple quick adjustments. Oh, hey Luke, how's it going? Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, I agree. The scene where they're in the Shrieking Shack and Sirius and Lupin explain their whole past to the trio while they're watching, and then yeah, that was a really intense scene. And then when Snape comes in and that whole bit, and when Lupin turns into a werewolf, that's such a great great scene there. I don't know why. I really wish, you know, Harry disarms Wormtail, and then he transforms into a mouse and escapes. I wish Harry would have or I wish they would have just Petrificus Totalis him when he was still in the Shrieking Shack and bound him, and then take him with him, bound and gagged. That's what they should have done. You know, and let him come to in the castle with the minister standing over him. That would have been so much better. But they were close. But of course, Wormtail escaping was the one catalyst that led to Voldemort coming back. Maybe he still would have managed somehow, Okay. The corner of that eye is there. Actually there. top of that eyelid is there. Yeah, that's better already. This needs to be, well, way more green because it's on this wand, magic wand side. And then that top of that tarso plate is down too, of course. See, the bottom of that eyebrow is like there. So that's pretty close. And the top. Just a little lower. His frontal bone comes out a little further. I think just having this discussion with a friend of mine. The end of Order of the Phoenix, you know, toward the end, when they're out in the Forbidden Forest with the centaurs and with Professor Umbridge. Umbridge, sorry, I'm reading it in French, and she's Ombrage with an O, so I'm like changing the way I'm pronouncing the name. Professor Umbridge. And when the centaurs carry her away, and she says, "Tell them I mean no harm." And in the movie, Harry says a great line. He says, "I'm sorry, Professor, but I must not tell lies." And I'm like, oh, that was such a fabulously brilliant line to say. Well, in the book, he doesn't say it. That line doesn't exist. I'm like, wow, somebody was really on the money for inventing that line for the movie, because damn, it was so effective. It was such a burn. Like, ooh, burn! Somebody was, not to say, you know, Rowling kind of missed a little bit of an opportunity with that line. Maybe she thought of it later and added it in. I don't know. Or someone else, when they were writing the script, said, ooh, this would be a great thing for him to say right here. All right, his nose is pretty much in the right spot. Yeah. He has a little tiny bit more of a, his nasal, see, it's hard to tell if that's his glasses blocking or what. It just comes out a little further. And where's the bottom of his other eyelash is a little lower. That means his eyeball itself comes a little lower too. Which is blocked by his glasses. So yeah. And we got a little lighter for the sclera there. That is the white part of the eye. Soften some of those edges a little bit. All right, that canthal ligament is actually right in the right spot. Go me. comes down just a little further. Yeah, not bad at all. Shadow of that upper eyelid is just a little lower. All right, his sclera comes out a little further though. I put his conjunctivus a little too far over. Let's mark where's the other corner of that, the other tendon. Not too bad there either. That tarsal plate is just a little lower. Yeah, and that fold just a little lower also. Do I have that slightly darker? Yeah. All right, here's the bottom eyelid. I've got to watch my finger. I should get my stick out before I smush my whole painting with my other pinky. That bottom eyelid in general is fine. His cornea comes out just a little more. And it's green. There goes my brush. Derp. Actually, let's get a darker one so I can have a dark green and a dark red. Here's dark green. Anybody else have a favorite Harry Potter book or film? Alright, his eyebrow made his eye orbit a little too big. I think what I was seeming to do was painting a little older Daniel Radcliffe. So I basically made his face a little longer. Yeah, just got to lower his top of his orbit just a little bit. Picked up some of that dark paint on his eyebrow. Alright, and after this pass, I should be able to start working on his hand and his robe and stuff. A little more forward on his eyebrow. Maybe I can go a little darker in his glabellum. And then a little lower on this part of his eyebrow, which will be covered by his glasses anyway. Yeah, that's actually not eyebrow, it's glasses shadow. Alright, his nose comes forward just a little bit. Okay, looks like that lower nostril wing is a little lower, this further one anyway. And then this shadow, of course, is a little lower. And this top reflection highlight is a little lower as well. I could make this plane change a little lower as well. Let's do that a little more red. And then I could move this, the inside wing of his nostrils, a little more inward. Hi there, Amy. Thank you. So this is Daniel Radcliffe without his glasses on, which of course makes him look different. Looks like I could lift his bottom lip up. Just a little whisper. Yeah, I could lift it up just a little bit. And he also has a cast shadow on his face that you see right now that are part of his glasses. But you don't see the glasses yet. So there's a cast shadow on his face and there's nothing casting it. So that's obviously going to be weird for a while. Hi there, Kiara. Thank you. Although I have to say that it's not always talent. It is a lot of hard work as well. If you guys knew the study that I had to do to be able to get to this point. I think that's why a lot of artists don't progress as far as they could, because they see how much work it is and like, oh my god, I ain't doing all that crap. Okay, and then the highlight moves up a little as well. Yeah. He definitely has those two planes of his. This thing on his lip is really prominent. That sort of, when he talks, you can see it move around too. It's funny how you start to analyze people's faces once you start studying anatomy. You look around everybody, you find their eye orbits and their fat pads. You find muscle structures and things. I love watching professional dancers work, ballet dancers and such, because oh, they have such great anatomy to study. It's beautiful. You try not to stare, but you're like, oh my god, I love your peroneus longus. It is just gorgeous. And they're like, what? You know, some of them get it, they understand, but it's just kind of funny. Like your vastus lateralis is just like breathtaking. Okay, I was right. His cheek could come in a little bit. I've still got a bare brush here. Tony Michelle Stamper, really cool, awesome, thank you. I'm just about kind of ready to. I'm fixing his ear. One more little pass on his ear, and then I'm going to put his glasses on, and then his face will really make sense. If that makes sense. His glasses are one of those likeness things on a face that without it, his face doesn't really read as well, doesn't make as much sense. Okay, that skin connects there. That's from that highlight coming from behind his jaw, which is a little taller, this shadow. Nick, you said you're back. Why don't you post a link? We do have prints available of this piece and the other 3 Harry Potter pieces that I'm working on this weekend. Looks like I made his ramus a little too big. Yeah, you can pre-order prints of this piece before it's even done. The originals are sold, so we cannot do any originals of these 3. We do have other originals on the website, but definitely check out our site because all these prints are 40% off right now, which is pretty awesome. Super sweet deal while we're doing the stream. Maybe I can post it real quick. Since I've got it here, Nick might be busy. So yeah, if you guys want to buy prints, I have 3 pieces I'm doing this weekend. I'm doing this Harry Potter, I'm doing Hagrid tomorrow, and I'm doing Luna Lovegood on Sunday. So live streaming all weekend, so follow us if you want to see the whole series. And you know, I do this like once a week at least. He's got a pretty soft. All right, and he's gonna have a collar right there. That's the collar of his shirt. there's the end of his neck. We just call that. Actually, his collar is much taller. That's like right there. Yeah, we see a little less of his neck. That's better. I can iron that out later. Iron out his collar, get it? Okay, I just gotta move his tragus and stuff up a little bit. His helix is about right, actually. His tragus. Just a little low. Third time's the charm. I know I moved it once. Let's see, where's the top of the actually that wasn't too bad. Not too bad at all. And the anti-helix was just, I could raise that just a tiny bit. Not too bad though. Let's get that concha right. And there's the ear hole behind all that shit. I could raise that shape up a little bit. This bottom branch is a little low. Do I have a nice red? No, but I will now. There's a couple great red spots. There's always juicy red spots on the ear. There's one there. A little bit on his earlobe. And I could do those highlights a little better. Make sure I don't poke his face with all these brushes in my hand. That would be terrible. Okay, let's follow that concha in. There's that highlight there. Those are a little bright for an ear. They're calling a little too much attention. Just soften those a little bit. That's better. And could open this up a little more. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Connect that anti-helix there. Okay, let's model out his eyes a little bit. That always helps really make them solid. And then his face is almost done. I always, what has it been, about 2 hours? Always spend about as much time on the face as I will on the entire rest of the painting. Because the face always demands so much attention and refinement. Just got to soften some of these edges. Oops. Should be a little lighter there. Where's my dark? dark green. Yeah, it looks good. That's it. Soften that edge just a little bit. Bring that eyelid, the bottom eyelid up a hair. Now he's got green eyes. So what we're probably going to see, I don't know if they're bluish green or yellowish green. I'll take a guess and say blue. We'll see a little bit of that cornea on the bottom. And then we'll do a little highlight. We'll make it green. You can see a little there. Oh my god, the highlight adds so much to an eyeball. It's like, hey, now it looks like him. It's Daniel Radcliffe. And now let's make a nice dark pupil. Let's raise up this cornea a little bit. Okay, let's do his glasses now, because that's really going to add the likeness that I need on this face. Whew. His glasses are not just black. There's all kinds of colors going around in there. I might have made the wing of his nostril a little high. Yeah, I did. Oh, I moved something here. Hang on. Shoot. Okay. Okay, his nose does come in just a little bit. His nostril, I mean. Could pull that in. Yeah, just a smudge. And then the lower wing, got these little tiny, like literally like half a millimeter, just changes everything. Again, if I was doing a portrait of a regular person, it wouldn't really matter, but since it's got to look like Daniel Radcliffe, or all bets are off. Yeah, just got to bring that nasal wing in just a little bit. And then we get a little higher on this. That's the second time I dropped my brush. And it won't be the last. Little lighter. Just basically a plane change underneath where his nasolabial furrow would be if he had one. But he's so friggin' young and beautiful, he does not have one yet. He will someday, though. Okay. That's about where that sits. Now watch, it's gonna, the likeness is gonna suddenly just happen. That's the corner. Friggin' young and beautiful indeed, right? Oh, you're talking about Harry Potter. Oh, I thought you were talking about me. Of course. Right there in the corner. And then that's where his bone is. That's where it hits his nose. And it goes about up to there. Yeah, these glasses are easily as much part of his anatomy as the rest of his face. Drawing an ellipse in perspective on a portrait. That's not hard or anything. Okay, I can see where now this shadow back here needs to be a little darker. Probably because of his glasses. And I can see finally, God, these glasses help so much. I can see this plane comes forward a little more. What is that highlight? That's not his orbital bone. I don't know what that is. Is that a refraction from the glasses, maybe? Because, yeah, there's no anatomy there. Don't know what that is. Alright, I could move his sideburn back just a little bit. Let's follow his zygomatic arch a little better. Yeah, give him a little more. Okay, where it falls, his temporal bone is a little higher. Not too bad. Pretty good. Guess the first time though. That curve. I mean, I'm not trying to get his hair close. I want to be able to see his scar, so I might move his hair a little bit on top. Because in the photo that I'm using, you can't really see his scar, actually. That's really surprising. They would use that as a photo. This was like a publicity photo for Order of the Phoenix movie, I think. And you can't, his scar is covered up. Where's my water bottle? Oh, it's down here. Where was I? Glasses. His glasses. Okay. Here, I want to post something real quick here. If you guys like my work and want to support the gallery and get some cool exclusive stuff, there's our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get all kinds of cool exclusive things that we don't give to anyone else. So that's fun, right? And we have more benefits and stuff. The higher subscription levels you get, of course. So check that out. And I sort of made a impromptu, unofficial rule. For every patron that we get, I will blow the horn of Gondor, just to confirm our total nerdiness. And to celebrate our new patron. Look at those glasses. They just seal the deal. There's a touch of a, sort of a little highlight right here. And then we do see a little bit of a cast shadow right as his glasses meet the top of his zygomatic arch there. And I can just soften those a little. Let's do his other glasses now. There's the nasal part. There's a reflection on there, a highlight rather. Yeah, if I make one mistake on this part, I have to re-render the eye underneath wherever I misplaced the glasses. Okay, so those are straight, they follow the rest of his face. Same with those. About there. I might have to repaint this part because there's a background color that's going to have to go there. So I won't spend too much time on those. The ellipse is wrong anyway. Derp. I'll fix that later. Now it suddenly looks like Harry Potter. Let's just trim that up a tiny bit. Okay. Harry Potter. Harry Potter must not return to Hogwarts. A little bit of that extra bit on his glasses. Harry Potter. Alright, now where exactly is his scar? It's like right there, I think. I know that's kind of important. And which way does the lightning bolt go? I can't get that wrong. I have to look that up. I can't see it in the picture. Forgive me 1 second while I look up the specifics of Harry Potter scar. Okay, it goes... I was going to make it go the wrong way. I'm glad I looked. Boy, I'd have gotten hammered for that shit. In the books, it's right in the middle of his forehead, but in the movies, they moved it over a little bit. Maybe just to... They wanted the more asymmetry, which I can appreciate. So it's like there. It's almost like the letter N. There we go. Scarhead. Nice. Where was I? His hair is a little bigger. I was off a little bit on that. Pretty close though. Yeah, his hair's a little bushier, I think. Not quite as bushy as his haircut in the Goblet of Fire. Man, he had a big pile of hair in that movie. So did Ron. That was the year where they're like, fuck it, we ain't paying for haircuts. Maybe the movie blew all their budget on special effects and licensing, and they didn't have the money to give the actors haircuts. Make it a little disheveled looking, because that's how it... I think in the movies that Harry's hair is way too kempt. And they always said there was a part in the back that stuck up, which they don't do in the movies. A part of his hair in the back that would never lay flat. Aha, see, that shadow makes so much more sense now that we have glasses there to actually outline it. But what I could do is I need to bring that down to meet it a little bit more. Make that sharper right as it hits the castness. And then this part I could lighten up. Make sure that's nice and red. Which it's not. Come on. A little lighter. Alright, his masseter might be a little tight. Yeah, I should probably soften that up a little. He's not clenching his teeth. We have Order of the Phoenix playing in the background. That's awesome. Can't wait to enjoy your Hogwarts and Game of Thrones paintings. Well, cool. Thanks, Leah. Thanks for watching. Glad you're enjoying the show. This is very difficult. Painting is hard enough, let alone painting with an audience. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I'm excited for you to get your paintings. Let's just soften his masseter a little because he's not clenching his teeth. His teeth are open. So that's how I know that. Maybe it's smushing because he's turning his head. It's like smushing a little bit. That's probably what that is, but he's not clenching his teeth. So his masseter would be soft and not contracting. He's not. His mouth is partially open a little bit. Angelina Pink Stink, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Okay, where am I here? I'm gonna soften this part of his frontal bone a little bit. And I suppose I could do a little bit of his hair. I don't really have a dark green, but I will now. Medium darkish green. Yeah, there's a nice green highlight right in front of his wand. It is doing something cool and magical. We don't know what. Protego! Expelliarmus. I can make his hair a little more disheveled too, and do a little bit of this. There's some shadow on his forehead from his hair. Okay, I don't want to cover up his scar too much. Shit. I want that nice and visible. Damn it. Let's just push that paint out of the way. God damn. Alright, so there's a little shadow cast on his head from his hair, but we need to show that scar. What paints am I using? I'm using oil paint. Williamsburg oil paint specifically. So my favorite kind of paint. I love that it actually has a sample of the real paint on the tube. So as you turn it, you can see what the paint looks like in real light, rather than just like a color printed on there from a printer, you know. So much more useful for me as an artist to see the real color, the real paint sample. Alright, he's got that center of his hair sort of right there. Really, not really a part, but a little bit of a part. A little darker inside there. And then it is definitely darker back here. What does it go about like that? I sort of just blocked it in earlier, but now I can actually do it properly. My English accent is really terrible. Like, laughable. I'm not one for really great accents. Alright, so here's hair, which is, his hair's brown. Or no, his hair's black. So those highlights. I guess they could be brownish, maybe a little more blue. Here's sort of this corona, like as in crown of light, not the virus, around the front of his hair there. We can do a little more of a little light brown. He has black hair, though. I don't want it to look like he has brown hair. But there's probably a little bit of warm light shining on him. So we'll do a combination of those two. Yeah, back here, there's a little bit of hair is really fun to do. A little bit more brown there. Maybe a couple strands. Where's my dark? Oh, this painting is going so well. I'm happy. It's fun to watch, to have people watch me paint when the painting is going well. When the painting is dying a slow, terrible death, it's really makes me nervous. Nice highlight right there, right next to his wand. Little messiness. That looks great. Again, I'll probably have to repaint the edge as I paint the background color in. You're doing incredible, man. Amazing to watch. Thank you, guys. Anyone who's just joining us, thanks for watching. I'm Christopher Clark, and I'm going to put, here's a link to buy a print of this piece and any of our other pieces on our website. They're all 40% off this weekend while I'm doing the stream. I'm doing a 3-day show this weekend. Doing Harry, of course, right now, and doing Hagrid tomorrow. And I'm doing Luna Lovegood on Sunday. So if you want to pre-order those prints before I'm even done with the painting, you certainly can. That's why I just sent you the link for that. 40% off. So that's like almost half off. That's just for this weekend while we're doing the stream, so take advantage of that if you like. A couple strands of hair there. Let's see, though, there's a little bit of a sort of highlight right over his forehead. Nice. You're so excited to see Luna. Yeah, me too. The concept I got for her is pretty fun. She's going to be reading the Quibbler, and the Quibbler is going to be upside down, of course. So that'll be funny. Yeah, we get so many requests for Luna Lovegood that I'm like, you know what? I really, really need to paint Luna. Okay, let me stand up for just 2 seconds. I haven't stood up in like a couple hours. Oh, very important when you're painting. Okay. Oh, just gotta stretch a little bit. Oh. Ooh. Okay, this is coming well. Very cool. Let me take a picture. Also on my website, or on Patreon, we have all these progress photos that I take. So you can actually see the whole painting in still photos that are actually, you know, from a straight on angle. so you can see how that comes together. Oh. Portraits are always so grueling. Looking good though. I could probably make his scar a little darker. Just a little bit. I don't want him to make... Oh, it's got to be like sort of a dark reddish something. Maybe, yeah, maybe just a touch of redness around it. Maybe it's irritating him because Voldemort is feeling something. Let me soften that a little bit. I've got my little tiny fan brush. For the life of me, I can't find another little tiny fan brush like this. They're all like huge. That's a little better. A little softer. Okay, now let's get to work on, I'm going to say his hand because I've got all these, I've got his flesh tones on my brushes right now. So let's do the hand. Another complicated object here. And then there's just fabric for his wizard's robe. All right, I'm going to lift this up a little bit. And then of course I got to do this. Every time I move my painting to get somewhere, I've got to adjust the camera. It's kind of a pain. Okay. And hopefully my big schnoz doesn't get in the way. Oh, there it is. Cat baby, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, hand. Let's see here. This top plane is going to be green also. There's that knuckle there. Let's find all of those. My throat is making all kinds of fun noises today. And then where's his sort of darker bluish, greenish. There's all those carpals. Get a little bit of a plane change right at the ulna there. Gets a little darker at the bottom of those carpals and under behind the ulna. You see probably a little more. Here's his thumb. I don't have a light pink brush, light yellow or whatever the hell that is. Probably be a little more pink because it is his hand, which has more blood in it. And then here's that smush when you make a fist. There's his ulna going down there. Okay, basically here's, all right, this needs to be, again, more pink. I admit I used my own hand as the model. I took a picture of my own hand in this pose, and my skin tone is very much more yellow than his is, so I can't accidentally paint his hand my hand color. That would be hilarious. Little knuckle there. So a little bit of that top of that ulna there, and this tendon that comes down. This knuckle is a little taller. All right, there's his thumb, and here's this top of that carpal there. Metacarpal. It's so meta. A little more. We'll see a little bit of that just from the glow from his wand, probably. Here's my blank, so I can carve in a little bit from the other side. Maybe this is a little too big. Just carving it in from the other side. We are getting a little of that smush from his hypothenar eminence down here. You make a fist, that part squishes out. I can't say how tight he might be holding his wand, but definitely enough to squash that out a little bit. Little bit of this muscle here. I admit I forget some of the very specific muscles of the hand, but I know enough of the general anatomy where I can make it work. He's got nice young hands though, so I can't make them too many features. Just like his face. Young, beautiful face without any features on it. Too distinct. All right, we'll leave that for now. I think I need to fill in some of this color behind here. Ooh. Now his robe, his wizard's robe. I can do maybe his collar. Did I have a light brush? I kind of lost it. I think it was this one. We'll say pink because it's not facing the wand. And it gets into shadow down here. And maybe back here we can do a little bit of a lighter to show some kind of a light source. Oops, I just painted my monitor. That's the hazard of having a handful of paintbrushes. You accidentally stick them on things. Okay, a little bit of Gryffindor robe here. A little bit of this crimson going off, and it kind of goes into his hood. It's like Harry's looking into my eyes. Oh, Harry. Harry Potter. Getting a little bit of light from somewhere back there. And then maybe, well, this is my same red brush. Maybe it gets a couple of dark wrinkles in here. Just to add some variation, and then darker there. Okay, now his robe. I will use some bigger brushes for that. Here's a couple I haven't used yet and probably won't. Let's put these. No, these are still dirty because I used them yesterday. Okay. Ooh. Oh. Let's make this shadow come forward a little more. That's better. Need to follow the angle of his zygomatic arch a little better. That's better. Okay. And when the painting's done, I'm going to write a quote. I do calligraphy also. I'm going to hand write where it's going to say, I solemnly swear I am up to no good. All my Harry Potter characters have a cool quote on them that the character would say. Kind of fun. All right, I need some room to mix some dark green here. How much room? No man can say. I think I'm just going to nail the whole thing with a nice dark green. And then fill it in to greens and purples. And then add my highlights as I see fit. Here's a wrinkle there. Wrinkle there. Painting fabric is so much fun. It's very expressive. I can do whatever I want. I have to understand the forms underneath the fabric though. Like there's his shoulder. But it is a very expressive. There's a little bit of wrinkle there. And I have studied fabric forms too. That's the slope of his back. This could be a little higher, actually. Yeah, that curve of his trapezius is a little higher. Here's where it meets his chin. And that hood has a little thicker fabric on it, so that would actually be a little thicker than the other part. Now here's basically his acromion process is probably right there. And this comes down and it buckles a little bit where he's folding his arm. There's a nice fold. And then here's the back of his shoulder. What Harry Potter house are you? I am a proud Hufflepuff. And my Patronus is a Saint Bernard, which I thought was kind of weird. I took the test on Pottermore. I think I would be a cat, because I'm definitely a cat person. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, if Patronus thing was real, I think maybe your Patronus, like, let's say if it was a cat, it might start out as like a house cat, and as you get older and more powerful, it might become like a tiger or something. I think that would be kind of cool. I mean, you know, you become the more powerful version of your animal. So, yay, Hufflepuff! Hufflepuff pride, high five right there. Alright, now I need some of these lighter, let's do some mid-tone greens. There's purples and stuff going on all over the place in this. Let's get a little more medium in that. A little more green. Maybe that's a little more yellow green. This might help. You got a rattlesnake Patronus. Ha, that's awesome. That's pretty cool, though. I wonder what criteria they're using to determine these things, but that's not a bad Patronus. That's pretty awesome. Maybe strange that you have a, you know, there's a weird Slytherin connection there, being a snake. Alright, that's way too yellow, actually. I don't like that at all. I've heard some people who like get like a squirrel, you know, or something weird like that. Alright, this is his arm coming down. He has a little bit more robe in the front. You can save that for a highlight brush. Oh, this is casting a shadow. That's what that is. There's a lighter plane there. And there's a reflected light on that one. And that one ends. And here actually has a little bit of this action. Your dad and your sister are Slytherin. So you're the odd person out of the family who gets the other house. Just like Sirius Black. A bit of that there. Okay, here's another wrinkle with 2 lights on it. Alright, I can polish those up. Let me get some smaller brushes here. Get a little closer look at these wrinkles. Here's this wrinkle. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of his neck color reflected in the fabric there. And there's that. Here's that highlight down that fold, the crest of that fold there. There's one. Let's make this actually follow his shoulder curve a little better. A little bit of core shadow there. I know I've posted my my Patreon link a couple times up there, the one for the gallery. One thing also that you get at a certain level is you get access to all my online painting courses that I've made, which I have 12 now. So if you want to study with me as an artist, there's your chance. That is the only teaching that I'm doing right now. I'm not doing teaching in general because I just don't have time. So that's why I've got online courses so that people can still study my work if they want. Okay. And your mom is a Ravenclaw. Nice. My girlfriend and her mom are also Ravenclaws. They're the sort of quiet, shy, nerdy bookworm type people, I think. Or I'm the one where I go to a party and I go up to everybody and I go, "Hi!" good at like going to places where I don't know anybody and I can meet random people and have a good time. All right, there's another little wrinkle just around the corner there. Yeah, that shows the angle of his shoulder a little better. Oh, starting to feel it in my neck. Definitely gotta take breaks and stretch a lot. I might, you know what I might do? I need to bring this shoulder forward a little more. Here's what I can do for that. I will put a little point there. There we go. That brings that a little more forward. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that brings his shoulder forward more. It should be this shoulder. More better. We'll do a little bit of a... Yeah, this is a nice shiny fabric. So it's got all kinds of reflected lights and stuff. And it is black fabric, but look how much green and purple is in it. Never take a color for granted. You examine the color and you figure out what color it is. And what light colors are around it. And here's a little bit of stitching. They've got a piece of black fabric here that I use for posing a lot. That thing has come in handy so many times. Let's say this is a bit of his front robe. And here we're seeing a little bit of that robe in front. There's the front of his shoulder coming down. What I need to do, I need to soften his hands a little too muscular. I think mine is a little more thin. It's my hand, so it's like, how do I make sure that, you know, it's my hand. It's like more, probably more featureless with tendons and veins. He's younger, so he's probably got a little more fat. So I just got to soften that hand a bit. I'll work on it when I do this background color. Well, there's a good robe. Let's take a picture. I'm using Williamsburg oil paints. Ask Sam. Thanks for watching, Sam. Williamsburg oil paint. Really great brand of paint. Really fabulous, transparent, dark colors. Cover this spot where it's reflecting light behind me. I love that my phone doesn't know I'm taking a picture of a picture. It always thinks it's a person, which makes me feel good. I fooled my phone into thinking that it's a human being, not a painting or whatever, you know. All right, let's lower this. So once again, guys, thank you all for watching. I'm Christopher Clark. You can follow me online in general. I'll put my thing on. This is all my social medias. is that Christopher Clark art. And we do have prints. We're doing a special this weekend. 40% off. You can buy this print before I'm even done. You can pre-order it basically. And then any of the other prints on our website are 40% off just for the weekend while I'm doing this stream. So that's pretty fabulous. We're trying to do a great sale just to, we appreciate you guys watching. And that's part of the reason why we're doing these streams is because we can't do shows right now. We're kind of stuck at home. We're like, well, we can at least engage with people still and do a cool show of sorts. So this helps get our work out there as best we can. So yeah, check out our website. We have awesome print deal, 40% off. Even the originals that we have listed there are also on sale at 40% off. So you can buy an original oil painting if that's what you're into, if you're a collector. And those are 40% off. So it don't get much better than that, gotta say. Okay, let's do his wand. Got a nice green glow. Yeah, we have prints of all my work I've done on the site. I do all the fun pop culture nerd stuff. I've done a whole slew of Harry Potter pieces. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Alice in Wonderland, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. So much cool nerd art. So many titles, because this is what I do for my life. Yeah, we've got a lot of really great stuff. So if you're into the nerd art, we have all of it that you've never seen before. We also have a lot of fun parody art by the artist Bucket and Ashley Rain, and a couple by Gadget, who actually is my girlfriend. She does some fun parody pieces as well. Yeah, we have stuff that nobody has. In fact, if you've seen our work elsewhere, it's probably because they stole it. We are constantly finding websites where people have stolen my artwork and are selling bootleg prints. But really, we are the only ones who are offering that work. Just making sure I can draw a straight line. I'm not proud. I don't mind using a ruler. That's still not straight. Man, I suck. Now what's happening up here? The phthalo green yellowish. This has some freaking red in it. That will never do. Okay, yeah, I need to make sure that's nice and dry. Let's get rid of that horrible color. Hope you guys are also enjoying being able to watch my palette as I'm mixing this stuff, as long as my big fat head doesn't cover it. It was quite difficult arranging my studio when we decided to do these streams. I have all these cameras everywhere. My studio kind of looks like the Matrix with all these like wires hanging down from the ceiling and stuff. Let me down easy, and if you don't let me down, let me know. If you're gonna let me down easy. And if you're gonna let me down, let me know. There's a wand. Let me know right now. This is the newer wand that Harry has, not his original dorky looking IKEA wand that he starts the movie series off with. Maybe it's a little more brown, a little more yellow. Too much. Definitely has a nice heavy core shadow in the middle. Yeah, I think his wand was one of the things they changed halfway through after a couple movies. I don't know how many, but they're like, man, I think it's boring. Ooh, so good. A little bit of texture is like a bark kind of quality. It's a little fat. I can skinny that up. And here it's going to get more green as it gets closer to the light. And here's this sort of weird little crevice in the side. I'm getting close to finishing here. It's only been 3 hours. Maybe I should take my time. I always feel bad for finishing early. Some people tune in later. Oh, where's the stream? I'm like, well, I'm done. Honestly, sometimes with these portraits, it is so unpredictable how long it's going to take me. When I did the Draco Malfoy one a couple weeks ago, God, that thing just kicked my ass. I was struggling with that thing the whole day. And in fact, even after the stream was over, I came back later that night and did another pass at it and finally finished it. And this one I did it in, just 2 hours. So you really never know. I never know. Let's, actually might be a little squished as he's squishing his finger out. Squishing it against the wand. We got some groovy stuff going on here. You guys ever heard the artist Lucky Day? He's like a soul, sort of, I don't know what genre it is. I would say soul. Awesome groovy stuff. What's this song I'm listening to now? Real Games is probably one of my favorite songs of his. I keep saying I want to put a playlist together and like have our gallery playlist so you guys can listen to music with me when I'm rocking out. Let's say there's a knuckle. That knuckle needs to be a little better. Yeah, it looks like he's squeezing that really hard. I think I was when I took my own hand as a reference. Oh my god, I'm totally going to finish this painting in like 20 minutes. Okay. Where's that? Boom, right there. I want this to be a cool. It's awesome. This was totally an idea by Nick, one of our guys at the gallery, when I was searching for a Harry Potter piece image. It's like, oh, you should make it like it's the opposite of Draco Malfoy. He's like turning and looking at you, and they could be like preparing for a duel. So that's kind of what's happening. So if you buy this piece, you have to get the Draco Malfoy piece also, so that they're dueling. Or they're about to duel, you know. Little yellow, green. This is like a crackly. Who knows what's happening here? Something awesome is about to explode out of his wand. And then it gets a little more glowy as it moves away. Yeah, geez, what color is that going to be? Boom, he's got some super powerful something going on there. That's pretty fun. I need another color because I need this nice tan-ish. I gotta make some room for that. Okay. Thank you guys all for watching. Please follow us on whatever video service you're watching if you want to see more of these videos. I'm doing a whole Harry Potter series this weekend. Tomorrow I'm doing Hagrid, and Sunday I'm doing Luna Lovegood. So please follow if you want to watch me do the rest of these pieces, and then also just to do more in general. I do this a couple times a week easily. So yeah, just subscribe or like or follow or whatever it has on your channel there, and you will get to see more of the fun streaming painting action. A little lighter, a little more red. A little more red. This is sort of his Gryffindor colors. It's what's inspiring this color. Kind of this crimson. It could be a little more red. And the Malfoy one is very green, so it is kind of a cool companion piece. Gotta get right next to his face. I might try to do a fun glow on the side of his face here in a second. Just to get a layer of paint on there. Get some nice medium on there. I like this sort of aged texture, almost like it's parchment or something. Yeah, I'll have to come fix some of those edges here later. And it's very transparent. So that's by design, so you can see all the fun colors underneath. All the textures and stuff. That's why I do my underpainting beforehand and let it dry, so that I can do transparent color on top of it. The paint is still pretty thick because I'm adding medium to it, but it's very transparent. And here it's kind of turned into that green. I don't want to do that yet. Okay, now I can start working on this glasses again. This looks like a good brush for that. That's way too dark, but I can change that. Little green for these glasses. That's parallel to that. Oh, lips. A little further out. And that's actually a little big. That's why that's not working. Because this is too low. That's actually about there. I made his glasses kind of crooked. And a little far out. Far out, man. Bring them back in. Ah, too much. What a mess. You can always tell when a section of a painting is overworked because the paint is all opaque and shitty and you can see it just be painted over several times. That's exactly what's happening right now, damn it. It has a different consistency than all the paint around it. What I could do is this. I can put a little bit of highlight. That looks so much better. And I'll put a little more opaque paint some other places here to balance that out. Let's make it darker there. Let's do a little touch of green to soften the edge of his cheek there. And it'll add a little glow. That'll make it look a lot more round. That comes in really far, so I don't want to make him look fatter. He has hardly any submental fat, and his mylohyoid muscle is really tight because he's so young and beautiful. It's funny, as you study anatomy for art, you start to learn all the differences between young people and old people, like anatomy wise, like when you're doing facial portraiture and stuff, all the fat pads that you can see and muscles that get exposed or muscles that like wither away, and fat pads that either increase or diminish, and skin that hangs. you learn all these very specific anatomical things, and it's kind of funny. And you start to notice them on yourself. You're like, oh no, so many fat pads. So if you're obsessed with looking young, don't study facial anatomy because you'll get so depressed. I'm so old. So many fat pads. All right, I'll do that turning green. I don't want to contaminate my brush with some colors that I need. I need this brush still. I gotta make it in such good time. It's 3:15. Ask me some questions and distract me. Slow me down, because I'm cranking through this painting too quick. Just invited you guys to ask me some stuff in the comments. Go for it. What have you always wanted to ask a Harry Potter artist? You know there's something. I'll try to slow down here. Yeah, this actually gets a little more green. Let's add some dark. There we go. Good old Nickel Azo yellow. That's the color for me. Oh, it's a little too green. Yeah, this needs to be still like kind of a crimson color. Oh, that's a good question, Luke. Do you think you'll keep doing this, like streaming, after we start doing shows again, or go back to enjoying your privacy? Unfortunately, I think, I say unfortunately, my privacy for painting is a thing of the past because we're doing really well with the streams, and I think that's just going to be something we're going to continuously add to our. It's now part of our business model, which it's fine. It's great. We do well with them. It's just another avenue for us to connect with collectors and get more followers and recognition and stuff, which will probably help our shows. It'll be mutually beneficial for both angles. So I'm fairly confident that we're going to continue to do this even after we can travel and do shows, which is actually kind of cool because I can stream and do these shows from anywhere in the world. So I've always had aspirations of like moving to Europe, which I really would love to do in a couple years. So I could do this from anywhere, which gives me a lot of freedom actually. I can still fly to wherever we're doing and do shows, but then travel travel to do a show from wherever I live, and then do these streams from wherever I happen to live as well. Do you have any plans to paint Ginny? Oh, sure. There's a ton of characters that I could do. I haven't painted any of the Weasleys yet. I guess there's 7 of them. I don't necessarily need to paint all of them. It's also like, what prints are people going to buy? I'm not trying to do a record of every character of Harry Potter. Like, we're trying to sell prints too. So like, who's a good sellable character that people are going to want to buy? Ginny, for sure. I think people would buy a print of her. Ron, no brainer, because he's one of the trio. For Fred and George, what I could do is just like do one painting, and then I could just flip it horizontally, and there's the twin. if I was really lazy. Just touching up the edge of his hair there, which I knew I would have to do. Yeah, I guess we're always taking suggestions about people's favorite characters who they would love to see us paint. So if you have one, please fire away. Dobby would be great. Oh, that's John. Yes, I thought about doing Dobby as well. It's amazing how a few small changes took it from Uncanny Valley Daniel Radcliffe to actual look like him. That's portraiture. You got to set up the foundation before you can put all the details on top of it. And yeah, they look weird when you're still setting them up. It's I always compare it to the guts of a person. I study facial anatomy, and we do a lot of, you find muscles and bone structures of people and stuff. And if I did a tracing over this and I found his skull and did the muscles and fat pads, it would look really, really odd. But you put the skin on top of it and you color it properly, and it looks beautiful. I'll just do a little bit of this medium. So it's really subject to that we only see the icing on the cake. That's all that humans understand and are attracted to. Anything less than that looks hideous and scary. So yeah, what you saw, what didn't make sense, what made it look creepy, Harry Potter, was all the foundational stuff, plane changes and bone structure and things. It doesn't make sense and really feel like a human and look attractive to us until I smooth out all the skin and add all the subtle little, put the tendons in the right place and make sure the structure is right. If it's all crooked or just tilted a little bit, it looks weird. And you're like, ooh, I don't know why that looks weird, but I don't like it. It is definitely a phenomenon. I mean, it's humans instinctively know very well what other humans look like. So if it's wrong, it looks really wrong. You may not be able to put your finger on it, but you do feel it. So yeah, that's the hazard of watching somebody when you do a portrait. People are going to watch that progress, and they're going to like, God, this guy sucks. And you're like, no, I promise, I know what I'm doing. Just give me a couple hours. Got to draw a little bit of that. Top plane of the club fabric there. Smith 2, very cool piece, nice details. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, the Malfoy was just a disaster for like the whole day. That was a really, really tough painting until I finally was able to polish up all those the features and the planes, and then it finally like, oh, that looks like a great picture of Tom Felton. Until then, it looks like a hideous human being, so it's really tough. Christopher Gallus. Your whole family's watching while we work from home and are in summer school. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Please follow us. I'm doing this all weekend. I'm painting Hagrid tomorrow, and I'm painting Luna Lovegood on Sunday. So if you guys are enjoying my painting, these streams, got a couple more fun ones for you. And then I do this about once or twice a week in general. I actually streamed yesterday yesterday was Global Tiger Day. And so I painted a tiger to show people how beautiful they are as animals, and that to remind people that they are an endangered, a critically endangered species. So, that kind of stuff. So I streamed that yesterday. In fact, I'll show it to you right here. Yeah, uncanny valley. Yeah, that's a great term when they try to make things look human and it doesn't work. Where's my tiger painting? Where did I just put it? Oh, here it is. Luke, you saw this one. So I just did this yesterday. So I streamed this live. So, because tigers are awesome and they're critically endangered, and we should do what we can to protect their habitats and the animals themselves, and vote people in office who actually care about our environment and wildlife and fighting climate change and all that kind of stuff. So that's what this painting was really celebrating. So there's just, I streamed that yesterday, streamed Harry Potter today. So please follow if you want to see more of my streams. To do this a lot. A couple weeks ago, I actually even went through one of my sketchbooks. I just flipped through it because I had just finished one. So you get to see fun, cool stuff like that otherwise, no one gets to see. And we get to talk and hang out and stuff. Oh man, I think I might be done with this one. And it's only 4:30. That's all right. Got some fun dinner plans tonight, so I'm a little early. Maybe I can have time to take a snooze and just chill for a bit before I go. Just go into my girlfriend's parents' house where we do a little social distance hangout every couple weeks. Let me get a picture of this on the easel with the paint. And of course, I got that horrible glare. There we go. Whew. Yeah, that uncanny valley is pretty awesome. Just that when you're off just a smidge. Yeah, the closer you get where you're still off, the worse it looks. It's that weird parabola, Whew. That was fun. Harry Potter. Okay. I will take some questions now as I clean up my palette. Please feel free to ask some questions if you like, because I'm just going to clean this up. It's the end of my session here. I don't want to sign it yet because it's still wet. I like to sign my paintings when they're dry, because sometimes I have to move the signature around a little bit, and it's way easier to do when the paint's dry. So occasionally I will sign a painting during the stream, which people always say they like to watch the artists sign their painting. It's kind of fun, but not today. The uncanny valley is a super interesting concept. I love telling people what it is all the time. Yeah. I'm assuming it's called the valley because of the parabolic arc. Right? Like the graph chart of how creepy it looks compared to how close it is to realism. Alright, that yellow's done. This is why I use a glass palette, because it's so great to just clean off your paint. I go to a lot greater lengths to clean off my palette than a lot of artists do. They just like sort of shove the paint in the corner. But I like having as much mixing space as I can, so I tend to do a really good job. Okay. Whew. Remember to check out the link there in your description to buy prints. If you'd love to own a beautiful Harry Potter print, or Hagrid, or Luna Lovegood, you can pre-order those this weekend. And when I'm finished painting them and they're dry and stuff, I can take a picture of it. We can get the prints made, then we'll send you one. Or check out the rest of the catalog that I've got of Harry Potter. Just a couple weeks ago, I did a Voldemort, a Bellatrix Lestrange, and a Draco Malfoy. And then before that, I did Dumbledore. This is part of my portrait series, where it's, you know, all 3x4 like ratio, like same size pieces, vertical, so you can get a whole collection of them, and they'll make a cool set. And it's just a straight up, straightforward portrait of the character, without any complicated scene or concept or anything weird like that going on, you know. Just a cool image. And then I do a handwritten quote on it, which is fun. I like calligraphy, so I do a cool quote by hand. A quote of the character. Like on Harry Potter here, I'm going to write right here, it's going to say, "I solemnly swear I'm up to no good." The old Marauders map spell. And then on Bellatrix Lestrange, it said, "You have to really want to cause pain." Which is, of course, what she tells Harry when he can't do the Cruciatus Curse right on her, because it's just not in his nature to really want pain, to cause pain that much. Voldemort's was great. His says, "Only I can live forever." Like, ooh, that's so good. And then, what is Dumbledore's? His says, it's the choices and the abilities quote. I'm trying to remember exactly what it says word for word. "It is our choices that show what we truly are far more than our abilities." That's a great quote. So that's what's next for this piece. Hagrid, his will say, "Mad and Harry, you wouldn't be talking about me, would you?" So that's his is going to be more of a lighthearted piece because Hagrid's fun. And then Luna, of course, will say, "You're just as sane as I am," as she's reading the Quibbler upside down. Because, of course, she's studying the runes, which have to be seen from upside down for them to be deciphered properly. But, of course, she's just a weirdo, so look, it works great. Okay, I'm leaving my paints on here because I'm going to use them tomorrow, which is just another great thing about painting with oil paint is I can just leave the paint on here and it won't dry. If the pile is big enough, it takes days for this to dry. So I can just leave it here, and it'll be ready for me tomorrow. And then I'll just clean up my brushes a little bit. I keep them overnight in a jar of water, just to help them to keep from hardening. And then when I'm done painting, if I know I'm not going to paint for a couple days, I'll go wash them with some proper brush cleaner in the sink. Really gets all the paint out. This only does so good of a job. This gets like, 95% of the paint out, cleaning them in mineral spirits. And then the brush cleaner gets out that remainder that otherwise dries in there and spreads the bristles out, so it's not a sharp brush anymore. Okay, some of these still have a good amount of paint on them. I think it's these two. I always say, like, one day I'd love to have like an assistant who I can just, at the end of my painting day, just, here, clean up, and I go do something else, and I can have them clean all my brushes, my palette, and all that stuff. That would be great. I need like a minion. Who wants to be my painting minion? Jessica, beautiful, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, this one was fun. This one came together pretty well. Occasionally a portrait will be agonizing, but this one actually worked really well the whole time. Draco Malfoy was an agonizing portrait. Bellatrix Lestrange came together really well. But I have to say the size of the face really matters. If it's a very small face, I have very little room for error, so it's a lot harder. The bigger the face is, actually it's easier to get because I have so much more room. If I'm off by 1 millimeter on a large face, it's not that much of a problem. But if I'm off 1 millimeter on a very small portrait, if the composition is just such that the face is a lot smaller, it's so easy to just miss and make a little tiny error, and then the whole face looks jacked up and wonky. So Draco's was a much smaller face because I could see more of his torso. But then I did Dumbledore a while ago, and his was a very small face because you could see most of his body in the picture. But his came out really great. It came together really quickly, and then, not easily. They're always a challenge, but it just worked so much better. Draco's was just a suffering the whole day. Every painting's different. He's an agonizing person. Yeah, maybe that's why. Because he's a jerk face. He's a jerk and he has a jerk face. Jerk face. That's gotta be why. Okay, those are waiting for me for tomorrow. Cleaning off my little fan brush here. Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. I think I might end the stream here. I'm almost 5. Yeah, please follow us so you can watch the rest of the stream this weekend for Hagrid and for Luna tomorrow and Sunday, and then for just our streams in general. I'll put my social media so you can follow me on social media. I'll put the link for the prints again, so you can watch. If you can buy a print of any of our prints, are 40% off right now. So check that out. And then here's our Patreon link. If you'd like to check out our Patreon, then you have access to all these streams too. So you can rewatch these again, and you can, we have a stream for the last like 3 months. I've got dozens of paintings so that you can watch the entire painting process. And as well as get other cool perks. So check that out. There's perks that we have only for our patrons. So there's all that stuff. So yeah, guys, I'm Christopher Clark, painting today for the Amazing Art Expo. So thanks so much for hanging out and watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. So Mountain MST, whatever that is. Um, so whatever time you're in there. So check that out. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, thanks, guys.